Hello, this is the Werewolf channel. My name is Louis, I'm the moderator. If you subscribe to the channel and like and comment and all those things, you are in with a chance to win a PlayStation 5. I'm going to take another draw on February the 16th. We already gave one away to Jeff Daniels in October, who seemed to be very happy with it. So please like and subscribe, and you could win a PlayStation 5. Now, let's carry on with stories of Will, our real werewolf. I sit at the centre of a darkened circle in a darkened room in the dark. It must be really dark because my light sensitivity as a werewolf means that I don't need a whole lot of light to see. Let's put it this way, it's really dark. I am a little befuddled and discombobulated, as a moment ago I was running through woodland in the chase after a young fallow deer doe. She had been skittish and good sport. Her small size allowed her to jinx her way through the undergrowth without any loss of speed. She was slotting her way through the bushes and trees like a slotty thing, I suppose. On the other hand, I had to charge and batter my way through the bush to keep up with the hunt. I'd lost her a few times to find her silent and still. Only my exceptional sense of smell offered me her hiding place. It had been a long but exciting chase, and she had finally been in reach of my snapping jaws when the world around me collapsed into me and all went black. Again, it's just really shit when this happens, and it seems to happen a lot as my world collapsed around me and I let out a prayer. Oh shit! Why the fuck now? As my eyes adjusted, I was at the centre of a circle, which was at the centre of a star marked on a cold, hard concrete floor. The floor had not, made my introduction to this new place a nice introduction, as I felt I'd fallen onto it from some great height. The star, as I overly mentioned, was in a darkened room. Have I mentioned it was damn dark? Somehow the walls of the room were not visible, although I knew that they were incredibly close, as though they were somehow hidden from my view. My mind slowly settled from the discombobulation. Sorry, I needed to use that cool word again. And I noticed the circle was a white chalk line on the floor, as was the star. The chalk lines weirdly fluoresced in the light of the black candles that had black flames. How do you get black flames? And my senses realised that the lines had been drawn using bone ash, not chalk. I'd smelt it before, many times. The large black guttering candles were at the points of a star. No, not a star. An 8-sided pentagram thing. And the smell that hung in the air was that of burnt sage and fat. Oh, and the candles were made out of human fat. Yeah, on a secondary deep sniff I recognised human fat. I knew weird, and this was it. I lived in weird, but this was a bit more weird than usual, to be honest. Okay, what the fuck is going on? Outside the circle there was a moment and a movement, but it was blurred, and I could not fix it by smell, sight or hearing. There was definite movement, and a susurration of voices moaning and mumbling, some dirge in harmony with one another, or almost in harmony. The sound made my fur crawl and feel a little bit sick, to be honest. It was no natural sound, or should I say it should not be a natural sound. I sat in my werewolf form in the centre of the circle trying to work out what to do next. I still could not penetrate the darkness of the outer circle, and that was properly annoying me. What was the point in having all these extra senses if you could not do shit with them? Then a voice, as though from miles away and seemingly somewhat speeded up, spoke out. Avast ye, dark demon. I guess it spoketh? Fuck, it was squeaky and annoying. I looked around the circle and then at the figure that was speaking to me from beyond the circle. It was robed, and its face was hidden in a deep dark hood. No, not a hood. I think in this case we would call it a cowl. Avast ye, dark demon, ye hast been summoned in order to do our biddest. The voice rose in tempo and volume as it shouted out this statement. I stared at the figure and tried to focus on it. It was as though I was looking at it underwater, or looking at it with that feeling when you're drunk and the room spins. It was worse than that, though. It was like when you close your eyes and it gets worse that the room spins. It felt like looking at that, if you know what I mean. I tried to focus my other senses on it, but no clue at all about what the fuck it was in my conclusion. This was definitely going to be an interesting new adventure for me. "We subjugate thee to our will, ourst will, fiend," it yelled once more. Well, I think it yelled. I was very confused as to what was going on, so I tried to take my human form to be better able to communicate, but for some reason this wasn't allowed. Something stopped me in my attempts to split from my wolf soul, Fen. Fen really was not happy with this, and he was rallying around in my head as confused as I was and really wanted out. Now, as you may know, well, maybe not, werewolves don't have a great ability to speak to our, due to our voice boxes being a cross between a wolf and a man. It really does not help in our articulation of speech, but I thought, you know what, I thought I'd try. "Okay," I croaked. "What the veritable fuck is going on?" "I've asked ye," shouted the robe. "I've asked ye, demon." "Okay, I'm not a demon, but I definitely feel avasted. I'm a werewolf, not a demon," I tried to say, pointing up and down at myself. "No demons here, I'm afraid. I think you must have summoned the wrong thing. Maybe you got the spiritual mobile number wrong or something. Is it like a mobile phone? Can you get the satanic number wrong?" The robe kind of deflated a little and looked as consumed in thought as a black robe can. It then raised its hands above its head and pointed them in my direction. Purple lightning crackled around its fingers as it postulated and posed in an utterly non-convincing manner. Although, I've got to admit, the sparkles on the fingers were really cool. I mean, it was convincingly all magical and all that shite. "You try us to trick thou, meest, with your confounding litany, hellspawn. You are a demon. If you do not do mine bidding, I will do nasty shit to you," came the voice from the darkened hood. The cowl thing. I smiled at what was happening and scratched my muzzle with an extended middle finger claw. The confidence was slowly oozing out of this robe and being replaced by a severe lack of confidence. "As a demon, should I worry about that nasty shit? Is that not like my thing, nasty shit and stuff? I thought that is what us demons do and all, deal with nasty shit," I asked. The robe became silent and it quickly looked to its left and shrugged its shoulders, talking to someone or something else outside my notice. I could not hear the words, but even I could sense the level of confusion hidden in the cowl. Weird how I could not hear what the fuck it was saying. A book was passed to him out of the gloom, and he looked through the pages and stopped at one and ran a finger very angrily over it. Well, as angry as a finger can be run over a book. "You look nothing like the demon succubus Lucanstape." There was a long pause. "Although I know she can take any form a mortal man wanted tist. Any form he wants, but I don't know of any others who wanted thee in this form, demon-ist." Another long pause as a hand was taken into the darkness of the hood in thought. "Brother Burnham!" There was no reply. "Brother Burnham!" The robe raised its voice and still got no reply. "Dave!" it screamed. Yeah," came from the darkness. "You have weird fetishes, is this your doing?" "What? No," came from the darkness outside the circle once more. Obviously, Brother Dave had some issues. I thought for a bit, trying to work out what was being said. Okay, I was being held by Satanists, demonologists or something in a secured circle. I seem to remember that a succubus was one of those demons that fucks people to death or something. A female demon form that seduces people with their sexual wiles or something like that. I wondered why they wanted a sex demon under their control. Then I realised the obvious, that it was someone who wanted to do a lot of demonic fucking. There was something weird here. Weirder than the weird. Nothing was right, but there was something really not right. It was the voice I was listening to. There was something strange about the voice. It was not a man. It was a youngish boy, a teenager at the very most. Obviously, it was at the stage of his life where he had a constant hard-on and a dream of touching another person's fuzzy bits. This was doing my head in, so it was time to do some killing. Sitting in the circle was somewhat less than amusing, so I thought I would just step out of it and sort all this out with a little violence. Instead of talking it through, I would just tear everyone up and do some killing and things, and then, the mistake was over. I looked at the robes and thought about it for a bit, and then instantly launched my leap through the circumference of the circle directly at the middle robe, who instinctively flinched away. I slashed with claws and bit with teeth and waited for them to tear into flesh, but they missed, and it did not end in the bloody manner that I wished. I just ended up back in the circle. I went through one invisible wall to be back in the circle from the opposite wall. Well, that's shit. Just to check, I poked my claw out of the circle to see it come through the rear of the circle as though looped in on itself. Weird. I waggled my fingers and the hand that stuck out of the nothingness was doing the same. Well, this was a conundrum. I now sat again, tapping my talons rhythmically on the cold hard floor, thinking how on earth I was going to get out of there and fuck up their day. There had to be a way. The robe got up off the floor and dusted itself down and set its hood straight again. I did not need to see the thing in the robe to know that it was now feeling pretty smug. It knew it had the power balance. Shitbags. I told this newest Dark One that you are strappedest and at the mercy of our women once. You will provide us with the things we wish, or we will dismissest you backest to the netherest regions of hellest. I demand that you retakest your ethereal form, succubus. We want us to see youest as you shouldest beest. It laughed, a practised dark body laugh, which was a bit shit to be honest. But I smiled as it ended in a coughing fit. I bet you do, you bunch of little pervs, I said. I'm not a succubus thing that you think I am. I'm a werewolf, not a demon. I then had to think about that a little. Although I'm not sure if a werewolf is a demon. Maybe I am, not sure to be honest. I don't think that I am the sex demon that you want though. I mean, I'm pretty good at sex and things, but I think you guys are trying to summon the feminine, big-breasted, debauched woman type of thing, not a wolf type person, male person. Although I would like to have a conversation with, I think it's Dave, was it? He sounds like he has a deep dark side that could be fun to hear about. Suddenly, the rogue figure became three again, and they huddled together as whispers and heated discussion was held between the empty hoods. I couldn't hear what was being said with my exceptional hearing, so I just sat and waited, clattering my claws once more on the concrete floor and waiting for the conversation to end. Well, came back at me in a much more high-pitched voice than the usual rogue's voice. The voice had changed back to its deeper tone. You must be a demonoth, as this is the castigation of demons from the Black Book of Summation. I replied, I'm a werewolf. Is that a demon? And do you mean the casting of demons or the summoning? Castigation means torture. Oh, I see you little pervs were going to do. You were going to BDSM a demon, babe. You are filth, and I'd like it a lot. The hooded heads again came together and then quickly split, and the voice returned. We are us not sureth where you taken us from the many planeseth of helleth to be here. No, actually, I was in a stretch of woodland just outside Edzell in Scotland, mate. If it was hell, then it's a different idea than I have ever imagined. Very pretty, to be honest. Again, the heads came together, and they all now looked into a book that they had between them. The book looked old and leather-bound, and was probably one of those amazing-smelling things you get in those crazy old bookshops where there's nothing but books. I mean, it didn't look satanic or anything, bound in the hide of humans or anything. It just looked like, well, just an old book that you could get from anywhere, like Cancer Research or Oxfam. I could hear them now quickly read through it and check that they had done everything right. They seemed to be going over the whole of the demon summoning right in kind of fast forward, at each stage checking the book and nodding with, where they were at. Then they suddenly stopped, and one of them went a little bit mental. He threw back his hood and started madly gesticulating and pointing at the other robe. The face that was shown was not the face I had imagined of a full-on demonologist at work. He was about 15 and had a shit black beard. That beard needed a lot more testosterone in its life to be worthy of beard status. He was sallow and spotty, and his many chins were not hidden by the bum fluff that he hoped made him look older. A boy that spent too much time on his computer in a dimly lit room wanking over niche pornography. He was probably a furry, which was kind of a bit worrying for a werewolf. Suddenly he pushed one of the other robes and gesticulated at me, and I could now read his lip. "You fucked up. You fucked it up. You said it wrong, you dickhead," I read from his frantic gob, and the finger that he was ramming into the chest of the other robe. The pushed robe looked somewhat deflated, and reading his robe body language was trying not to show angry embarrassment. I tried to butt in. Is there any way I can help?" The face I could now see turned towards me. "He read the wrong name out," he said, pointing at the other person with his thumb. They now stood looking at me in somewhat of an angry pose. "Oh," I said. "What was the name you said?" The bristling face turned to me, the deflated robe, and said, "Damon, you tell him what you said." The robe, now labelled as Damon, turned towards me with as much shame as a black-shadowed robe can have. He looked at the floor and drew a semicircle with his toe on the floor as he spoke. Well, I think I said lycanthrope instead of Lukenstape. I was watching Underworld Blood Wars last night with Kate Beckinsale, and it just sort of happened. Would you mind going back and getting the other one, please? Sorry if we've bothered you and stuff. You see, Lukenstape is this sex demon from the 14th century who fulfills any man with any sexual desire that they want. All they have to give is part of their soul for it, and to be honest, it can have my whole soul if it will touch my cock. His eyes met mine, and he smiled. As you can imagine, I wasn't really ready for this and did not know how to react. I needed some time to process what had happened and then work out where to go with it. "I will be honest, you little deviants. I have no idea who the fuck the lady is that you desire. I really did not know that there were things like demons. However, nothing surprises me these days, to be honest. You see, it's quite difficult to dismiss shit when you're a mythic creature yourself. But sorry, I haven't got a clue what to do. I seem stuck in this bubble you made. Can I actually get out of here or what?" All the hoods came together and down at the same time, as they seemed, to have lost the want to do this ritual anymore. They all now looked at each other in silence, eyes flicking from one to another, as they obviously sat in thought. Dave was busy looking through the book and thinking, while the other two just looked a little lost as what to do next. I met eyes with one of them as he met mine, and he became a little embarrassed and sort of took on an apologetic air. His hair was long, greasy and ginger, and his face was freckled and long. He was formulating some words and changed his mind and went for a small talk of all things. "So where were you before this?" he said in a mid-puberty squeaky cracking voice. "As I said, I was in Woodland up in Scotland. A little area near Edzell. Have you heard of Edzell?" "No," was the shaking head reply. "No," he said much more quietly, removing his eyes from mine. But then he rallied. "Was it nice? I've never been to Scotland myself, but my dad lived near Aviemore for a bit. He said it was beautiful." I didn't reply. I just couldn't be bothered. I was just waiting for the other two to finish their hurried conversation and then find out what would happen next. After a while, the other two teens stopped and one of them stepped forward and spoke. "Right, we will be honest. We tried to send you back and it didn't work, so we don't actually know what to do. The things we can do is we can release you from the sanctity of the circle here and let you go on your way as a werewolf. But to be honest, we're a little worried as what might, you might hold a grudge against us and hurt us in some scary way, or our other choice is just to leave you in there forever and ever." Well, the left in there forever and ever was not an option, so I had to be thinking pretty fast. I thought, there has to be more than this to it. Maybe I am somewhere that they cannot leave me. Maybe I'm somewhere that they can't just have a werewolf in the circle for the rest of eternity. Hopefully, I would be in Mummy's cellar, so they would have to do something about me. Or maybe they are lying and they have to release me for some other reason. The spell well, maybe run out of energy naturally and let me go. I mean, if it were just walking away and leaving me, then that's probably the easiest answer. Are they bluffing?
Well, I think that I would let me go. It would be very useful in my human form. I could teach you how to pull women. I'm pretty good at getting laid as a human. What do you think?
The three of them again went into a bit of a huddle and started talking. It took some time, and I amused myself by pissing outside the circle and seeing it coming through the opposite wall. Wait a minute, the wee soaked away. So if I began digging, We've had a bit of a chat, and we've decided that we don't want to let you out the circle until we're many miles away. We're young, but we aren't done. So we think that this is probably the best recourse. I smiled at them, nodding at their wise decision.
I do warn you though, I've got the best sense of smell that you can possibly imagine. I can smell you from huge distances, so you guys are going to have to go a long way away from me not to find you. I could also lie and tell you that I'm not going to try and find you, but the likelihood is that I will, just for shits and giggles.
The huddle reformed and the discussion went on. Every now and again there would be a lull in the conversation and their faces would be turned towards me. The whispering stopped, and one of the rows was pushed forward by the other members of the Satanic Circle, the usual volunteer method. So, you werewolves are pretty unkillable then. It was a statement, but brought out as a question. I smiled. They were either being superbly stupid in this line of questioning, or incredibly intelligent.
I am very hard to kill. Not impossible to kill, but you little fucks would be dead before you could do it.
I used confidence. The robe turned back to the crowd, and talking resumed. Eventually the talking stopped. Okay, some news to share with you. Now, we are miles out of town. The building we're in is an abandoned old home that no one will miss or ever come to, so we could just leave you in here permanently. You may never be found. I didn't like that, and Fen in the back of my mind did not like the idea of waiting here until some poor fucker found us, which they would eventually. I needed to talk them out of that.
I would not like that, guys. If I do escape, then I would definitely come for you.
I smiled. Well, that is good then, because what we've decided to do is to fill the cellar here with combustibles, you know, wood, petrol and other burny stuff. We then are going to set it on fire with some electronics. Mick, he pointed at Damon, he can do it with his phone. The problem is that the bubble you are in will probably protect you from the fire for some time, so we'll have to release you when it's burning well. Now, we reckon that it may not kill you, but it should. And if it doesn't, then it'll fuck you up a lot. Now, you have to talk us out of it. We're going to sacrifice you to our Lord and Master, Satan. Well, that was a terrifying idea. I had to talk them out of this idea. The burning and stuff would not be good. I would probably die. I paused as though to contemplate my next step.
Okay, I have a better idea here. I will teach you my control spell. I'm not supposed to give it away.
I lied.
But the problem with being a lycanthrope is that you have been born to be controlled, much as an attack dog for the unearthly. I can give you the spell that the ancient ones used to turn me into their bodyguard, and you can command me to leave you alone, and we can go in our separate directions. I will only give it to you though if you promise just to use it for this moment. You would just protect yourselves and let me go. None of this now, having control of me, just using me for whatever you wanted to happen. Is that okay? Deal?
This was too easy. These little self-centered greedy fucks had just been offered a werewolf to remote control. Of course, they would leap on this and think they could control me. Every bully or situation that they had ever felt picked on now would have a way to be solved. They could use me to murder and destroy, to get what they wanted. I waited for the little fucks to jump on this. They again got their heads together and whispered. It was a quick chat, and they turned around, all with big beatific smiles on their faces. The evil in those eyes was even shocking to me. I could see a new level unhingedness. I hope that's a word. The eyes were full of the flames of hell. I was unnerved, and that's an unheard state of, for an overconfident werewolf. The eyes all looked through me as they said, "It has been decided to burn you, and sacrifice you to Baphomet himself as a great treat for his soul. He will dine on both your souls and reward us in time for our donation. Ah, shit. This was not going to be fun. Let's see how the fuck I get out of this one. That's the end of the Satanists. Well, I'll carry on with the story in time. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. That would be great. And the website, if you want to go see it, is www.werewolf.host. And remember, there's the chance of winning the PlayStation 5. Love you lots from the Werewolf. Bye.